Beneath the Silence, the Edmund Kemper tapes. Episode 1, A Monster Born. Sometimes, the scariest monsters are the ones who look most human. Our story begins not in a crime scene, but in a hospital. Burbank, California, December 18, 1948. A boy is born. His name is Edmund Emil Kemper III. From the outside, the family appears ordinary. But inside, the house is filled with rage, isolation, and fear. Ed's father, a World War II veteran, leaves the family early. His mother, Clarnell, takes custody, a woman described by many as domineering and emotionally abusive. She tells Ed he's unwanted. She locks him in the basement at night, and she repeatedly mocks his size and intellect. At age 10, Edmund is already obsessed with death. He buries a cat alive, then digs it up. He cuts off the head of another and keeps it in his closet. To the adults around him, he's a quiet child, but behind closed doors, his fantasies grow darker. By 15, they become reality. In August 1964, Edmund shoots his grandmother in the kitchen. When his grandfather returns home, Ed kills him too, not out of anger, but to spare him the sight of what he'd done. He calmly calls the police and confesses. Declared criminally insane, Kemper is sent to Atascadero State Hospital, a maximum security psychiatric facility. And it's here that he begins to evolve into something far more dangerous. I was the model patient, but I was studying them more than they were studying me. Edmund Kemper. Kemper reads psychology textbooks. He learns the language of psychiatrists. By 21, he convinces the staff he's cured, and they believe him. He's released into the care of the one person who hurt him most, his mother. But Ed Kemper doesn't want a second chance. He wants revenge, and the bodies are about to start piling up. Episode 2, Co-ed Killer. He drove them away from safety, and no one ever saw them again. It's 1972. Ed Kemper has settled back into life with his mother in Santa Cruz. He's calm, quiet, working odd jobs, fixing his car. But inside, something is brewing. He begins picking up hitchhikers, at first, just giving them rides. But soon, the fantasy overcomes him. His first known victims are 2 college students, Mary and Pesci and Anita Luchessa. He picks them up, drives them into the woods, and kills them. Their bodies are never found intact. Kemper takes Polaroids. He mutilates their corpses. Then he returns home, where his mother is still yelling at him. When she go to sleep, that's when the pressure built. Edmund Kemper. Over the next year, Kemper murders 4 more women. He develops a routine: lure, isolate, kill. Then he brings parts of them home, often sleeping beside their heads, talking to them, posing them. And all the while, he's spending nights drinking at a local bar with police officers. It's called the jury room. He chats with detectives, listens to their theories. They like him, think he's just a harmless giant who's fascinated by crime. They have no idea the man sitting next to them is the very monster they're hunting. In February 1973, he kills 23-year-old Cindy Shaw, then Rosalind Thorpe, then Alice Liu. By now, the community is gripped with fear. Parents warn their daughters not to hitchhike. Still, the killings continue. But there's one person Kemper hasn't killed yet. The one person he blames for all of it, his mother. And when that moment comes, the brutality will stun even the most hardened detectives. Episode 3, The Killer Who Turned Himself In. I couldn't stop until I killed her. April 20th, 1973. Ed Kemper waits for his mother to fall asleep. Then, he walks into her bedroom and bludgeons her with a claw hammer. After killing her, he decapitates her, and in a final act of rage, he screams at her severed head for hours. Later, he stuffs her larynx into the garbage disposal. That seemed appropriate. Edmund Kemper. But he isn't done. He invites his mother's best friend over for dinner and kills her too. Then, he drives east, across several states. Not to hide, but to prepare. In Pueblo, Colorado, he stops at a payphone and calls the police. They think it's a prank. "I killed my mother," he says again. Eventually, they listen. He gives them directions to the crime scene. Back in Santa Cruz, investigators enter a house of horrors. Dismembered remains, body parts in the freezer, and handwritten confessions. Kemper sits calmly in custody. He confesses to 8 murders in total. But the details are what shock everyone. His crimes weren't just violent. They were intimate, calculated, often sadistic. Yet his tone remains cold, eerily analytical. There's no thrill, no joy, just a compulsion. At trial, he's found sane and sentenced to 8 life sentences. When offered the death penalty, he asks to be executed. Instead, he's sent to California Medical Facility in Vacaville, where he remains to this day. But Kemper's story doesn't end in prison. In the years that followed, he became a key figure in the FBI's behavioral science unit. His interviews were foundational for understanding serial killers and inspired characters in shows like Mindhunter and The Silence of the Lambs. He doesn't ask for forgiveness. He doesn't show remorse. He says only this: I didn't want to hurt them. I wanted them to stay with me forever. Series conclusion. The story of Edmund Kemper is not just about murder. It's about how a mind can rot from the inside, how abuse can create monsters, and how those monsters can wear the calmest faces. He wasn't a ghost in the shadows. He was right in front of everyone. Polite, friendly, helpful, deadly.